Hi friends, this is Lola Marie Grimes from Eminent Home Communications, and I'm wanting to talk with you today about a perennially hot topic in homemakerdom. It is a topic of I am all touched out. What to do when one more touch is just too much. Well, before I dive in, I want to ask you to hit the subscribe button if you would, and also give a thumbs up so we know what resonates with you and what you like, and we'll keep giving you more of that. Well, today specifically, as I mentioned, it's all touched out. What is that? It's the feeling of being touched too much, of wanting to avoid touch because of constant contact, but also emotional touch points. Well, why is it that homemakers face this experience so often? Well, I'll tell you. I want you to think about our role as homemakers as the emotional head of the family. The emotional head of the family. And what does that mean? It means that we are quite often the number one empaths in our family. And what that means is that whatever emotions, positive or negative, needs, psychological or otherwise, we absorb all that energy, all those commands and demands of our efforts. We absorb it into ourselves. And so you might recognize it when Johnny's having difficulty in the subject. The homemaker, the caretaker often takes on those same emotions of worry, of fret, unfortunately. But we share in those emotions with those that we care for. And that's there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of our role as emotional head. We are literally the touch point of our family. Um, Literally meaning touching, embracing, caressing, so forth, but also figuratively or psychologically helping to guide and nurture and address any needs that are emotional or psychological in nature. But what happens when we continue to give and give? Well, like any store, any reserve, any fund, um, we become depleted and we start operating in the negative. We continue to give out, but energy that we don't have. And what happens after that is an effect? Well, we become angry, depressed. There may be resentment for the demands on our affections, attentions, and the things that we bring to our family unit. We may seek escape, movies and books or activities. And there's nothing wrong with a bit of escape, but it's the heart behind it. We're being driven from our role. Now, the problem is not that people need us for these touch points. The problem is that we have to be sure to replenish these stores. And we can't depend on anyone else to do that but us. Again, because if we depend on someone else to replenish us and that doesn't happen, or it doesn't happen the way that we want or need, there again arises emotions of depression or anger, or resentment. But what happens when we take an affirmative, offensive action to be proactive in caring for ourselves? Everyone benefits. So I want to share with you just like 3 simple ways of taking care of yourself, of preventing being all touched out, or if you find yourself teetering on the edge, just strategies to have in your back pocket, tools in your toolbox so that you can keep going in this role, being effective, and also just feeling good and energized. It's very important. So the first easy thing to do is just to make sure that you prioritize opportunities for life-giving touch for yourself. Life-giving touch for yourself. You spend a lot of time giving out touches, giving out psychological, emotional care. You make it priority to provide those experiences for yourself. So what does that look like? We pay people for medical care, your dental care, chiropractor, and so forth. And another thing that we could be paying for that is a preventative measure, there's also pleasurable, much more than going to the dentist. A pleasurable, life-giving experience would be simply a salon experience. Now, don't change the channel. I kind of cringe just saying that because I don't want to minimalize or trivialize this. I want you to hear me out. We pay people to take care of our vital organs and so forth. Why not pay someone to give us a life-giving touch? I am the first one to say that I usually don't look for a salon experience. I feel like I can cut my nails, I can scrub my heels, I can, do my hair on my own. I don't need anyone for that. But then I had an aha moment. I thought, well, if I get a massage, that's someone whose sole effort or point for that hour or whatever is to address my physical needs, to give a life-giving touch, the replenishing the stores into my body, focusing on this knot, that knot, just helping my body to relax. If you're a person that enjoys having your hair brushed, well, most homemakers don't really have someone to brush their hair like we did when we were younger, or had a friend, you're getting ready for an event, you may do each other's hair. We don't have that anymore, but it was a pleasurable, life-giving, bonding experience. I don't think that there's anything wrong with paying someone if you are able to do your hair, if that's something that you enjoy. The point with this salon idea is not to trivialize this or to run out and spend a bunch of money, but there are life-giving options if we just think about them and look around, that will help us come back to our home feeling replenished, restored, and ready to touch and care and tend again. Second would be a sensory activity. We should treat ourselves to luxurious or nice feeling textiles in our clothing, and our surroundings. These are ways that we probably don't always think about, just the sensory experience. Your fuzzy bathrobe, your cozy slippers. If you have a sweatshirt that's worn just right, it's worn in and soft, and you feel embraced when you're wearing it. If you have a favorite baseball cap, I like caps, and you just want to throw it on and you feel cocooned. These are little simple things that anyone can do. This also includes creating a sanctuary in your home. I spent a lot of years as a homemaker and a homeschooler, feeling like I needed to spend every moment with my family in the open, common areas of our home. And I think in retrospect, there was a level of resentment. I didn't have anywhere to get to just, or a space that was just mine. I've created in my bedroom, for me, a sanctuary. It has books and some pieces of art, a desk, a sitting area, and it's what makes me feel nurtured. It's a place where I can come, I can close the door, I can take a moment, and it allows me to rejuvenate, to take a moment so I can go back out and to re-engage. The last idea under this idea of a sensory experience to combat being touched out, walk outside with no shoes on and feel the pebbly texture of your driveway, feel the grass under your toes. Seek after those tactile experiences that give you a sensory experience that stimulate your nerve endings. It doesn't always have to be a person in a salon. It could be just your luxurious or enjoyable sensory experiences that can replenish so that you're able to do your job well. The final idea, so the first one was salon experience, or considering paying someone to give life-giving touches in a healthy way. The second is consider sensory experiences for yourself. And the third one is modeling life-giving touches. What if instead of reacting to different situations in our home with touch or hugs or so forth, and that's good. There's a time when you can't anticipate, but what about being proactive? What about instead of waiting in advance, choosing to gift a touch before it is commanded or demanded, to gift a hug, to gift a rub on the back, or whatever it is in your family culture. That way you're giving out of your plenty, out of your abundance, rather than giving out of lack. And it could also be the life-giving touch of massage. And I mention this modeling because what you'll find is that it comes back to you. Yes, your family will need you to give, and they may take touches, but they will also learn how to give life-giving touches, and it'll come back to you. A life-giving rub on the back when you're not expecting it. A life-giving, I love you, Mom, when you really needed it. A life-giving massage when you say, oh, my back is killing me. I'll rub it, Mom. We teach our family how to tend to one another, and we receive what we model. The fourth kind of strategy for dealing with I'm all touched out addresses specifically the psychological or emotional depletion and what to do to restore, but even better, to prevent complete depletion. And these are things that I recommend for everyone. And simply these things: always be learning something. Have something that's absolutely fascinating to you, that you want to dive into, that you're curious about, that you can't wait to talk about with someone. I call this a healthy diversion, where your attention is not always completely on your family, because that alone can cause some distress and exhaustion. So always be learning something that you're curious about. Nothing to do with what, if you homeschool, nothing to do with your homeschool, nothing to do with what Johnny is doing in a school play or what sports Sally's doing. Something that you are interested in. You will fill yourself up when you feel intelligent, when you're curious about things, when you have things to say. It helps you to feel good. Also, be creative. Be creating something. Now, I am not a crafter. I will say to anyone that I'm a little bit too impatient to sit down and to craft, but I can spend some time decorating my house. It's productive and it affects our family. I can create a piece of art. I can create a whole world in my imagination and let it come through in a written piece. And it shows me that I can do something. I have an end product, and it's enjoyable, it's pleasurable, and people are attracted to that. Making time for friends, people who are on the same leg of the journey or further ahead or even behind, but just who get you and with whom you spend time and have a good time. You'll come back to your home replenished and encouraged. My kids always say when I come home from spending some time with friends, Mom, you're in such a good mood. You're so happy. And I say, I know. Yeah, I had time with my friends. So do that for yourself. And if you don't have friends in the real world, take some time and invest in cultivating friendships. That is very important. Finally, of course, Jesus time. I hesitate to mention this only because sometimes this can be a point where some good Christians, this can be a point where they feel like they fail. I didn't get time in morning time or devotion time. That's not the point of why I'm mentioning this. I'm mentioning Jesus time so that you have a space for just you to meet with the Lord, to encourage yourself in the Lord, to spend some time just in quiet, to give yourself a protected space where you can be available, not as a check mark on your to-do list, not as in I've read 5 verses, I'm good for the day. I offer this up as a real solution with the caveat of please don't make it into something in which you can fail, because that's not his desire. So just to recap, salon life-giving experience, sensory experiences, modeling life-giving touch, and the psychological care of always being learning the other healthy diversions, as I call them. So why don't we care for ourselves? The number one reason is fear. Fear of failure, fear that I couldn't handle it all. I couldn't do it all. Fear of being invalidated. If someone says, why do you need to do that? Your job is not hard. Fear of being invalidated. Fear of, I can't afford to do anything. I've shared some pretty basic ideas that pretty much anyone can do. My spouse can't manage without me. Yeah, they can. Give them a chance. And the truth is, and the remedy is respect. As you respect your own humanity, as you respect your role as the emotional head of your family, that it's a real and worthwhile and a vital job. When you respect yourself, then you will just seek to care for yourself. And the truth is, when you do this, it's not a selfish activity. When you care for yourself, when you replenish your stores, everyone in your family benefits. You're happier, you're engaged, you have more emotional fortitude, and therefore you have more to give. So moms, if you're all touched out, try out these ideas. Let me know if you have any other ideas that I didn't mention of real ways to care for yourself to combat the I'm all touched out syndrome. I would really love to hear what you have to say. So I welcome all helpful, respectful comments down below, and I would really love to hear from you. And I want you to remember that you should self-care because you are eminent. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.